How did wokeness kill American comedy? I'll get to that in one moment, but right now, let me tell you a joke. Two guys were walking in the forest when there was an accident. First guy calls 911 and he asks, hey, my friend just had an accident. Can you help him? And 911 operator says, first, of course I can help you, but first let's make sure that he's dead. Bang, 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 bang. Guy says, okay, now what? All right, so my telling of the joke may not have been great. I don't know. I need to work on my delivery. I'm not actually a comedian. But that joke is considered by science to be the best joke in the world. And how they did that is that they tested this, they went all around the world and they got input from different cultures and different people to see what they found funny. And there's a great quote from the scientist who did this study. He said, "It was the joke that most people didn't hate. It's so you can look up at any one group. You can look at men or women or young or old or Canadians, and there's always a joke that they thought was much, much funnier. But when you pulled the data, you got the average, and that's the average. It's the average joke." I also like how there's like categories, so men, women, young, old, Canadians. So I'm happy to be in one of the fundamental categories of human existence, apparently. Yeah, so the point is that wokeness, or my point, I'm getting to it, is that wokeness or anti-wokeness doesn't actually make anything funny. And the focus on being anti-woke actually leads you into being less and less funny because you're trying to prove that you're anti-woke. So you're trying to be canceled. So you're saying more and more offensive things. And you're not worried if the offensive things that you're saying are actually funny or not. You're just trying to say something offensive. And I think Anthony Jeselnik said it best when he said, you're a comedian. Your job is to make people laugh. Do your job. Be funny. Because you can say offensive things and be funny. You can say inoffensive things and be funny. But the job of a comedian ultimately is to make people laugh. And I think like people around Joe Rogan, and not everybody, but a lot of those comedians that spawned in his wake are not actually that funny because of this. And you might say, well, comedy is very subjective, and that's true. So if you find a comedian that makes you laugh, it's a great comedian for you, right? But is there any way to objectively measure how successful a comedian is? Not really, but one way that we could, potentially, is to look at the most financially successful comedians. So, there's a list that's published every year, and I'd like to tell you the top 10 in 2025 and the top 10 in 2016. Because you might think, people who are comedians can't be woke now because they won't be successful. And, times have changed since Trump. So tell me if you think these people are woke or not woke. So here is the top 25 from 2025. The top richest stand-up comedians in the world. Number 1, Kevin Hart. Number 2, Jerry Seinfeld. Number 3, Dave Chappelle. Number 4, Trevor Noah. Number 5, Ricky Gervais. Number 6, Chris Rock. Number 7, Joe Rogan. Number 8, James Corden. Number 9, Amy Schumer. Number 10, Ali Wong. So obviously some of those people are not financially successful entirely due to their comedy, but there are people on that list, they're stand-up, who are primarily stand-up comedians. Even people who are loathed as comedians like Amy Schumer, right? So people say, oh, Amy Schumer steals jokes, and her like shtick is like, yo, she's just a woman and she's talking about sex and her period and whatever. I think she could qualify as somebody people think is woke, but she's financially successful. So let's talk about the dark ages of 2016. What did the list look like then? So in 2016, here is the list. Number 1, Kevin Hart. Number 2, Jerry Seinfeld. Number 3, Terry Fator. Number 4, Amy Schumer. Number 5, Jeff Dunham. Number 6, Dave Chappelle. Number 7, Jim Gaffigan. Number 8, Gabriel Iglesias. And number 9, Russell Peters. And number 10, John Bishop. Now, I'm not a big historian of comedy, so I don't know many of those names, a few of those names like John Bishop or Tony Fator. So I don't know if they were like super woke or anti-woke or whatever, but Amy Schumacher, that's the race driver, Adam. That's not the comedian. Amy Schumer is on the list twice. So, yeah, I think that wokeness is not a factor in the financial success of comedians. It's something different. So the financial success is about your business acumen and resonating with your audience, whoever that is, or creating your audience, in the case of Joe Rogan, noted American scholar. But we might think like, okay, that's how much they earn, but what about the reputation as the greatest comedian of all time? And of course, that's subjective too, but Comedy Central did a top 10 in 11 years ago, so also in the dark ages. But number 1, Richard Pryor. Number 2, George Carlin. Number 3, Lenny Bruce. Number 4, Woody Allen. Number 5, Chris Rock. Number 6, Steve Martin. Number 7, Rodney Dangerfield. Number 8, Bill Cosby. Number 9, Roseanne Barr. Number 10, Eddie Murphy. And it goes down. Like, who is the number 100 on the list? Let's see if it's anybody we know. Gallagher and Gian Garofalo, and Louis C.K. is number 98. So I think obviously there would be people on that list who might not be there right now, like Bill Cosby. But the thing with that list is that it is a diversity of voices, not in the sense of like an artificial diversity, but the thing that is always funny for me is when somebody has a unique perspective and they say something funny in that perspective. So wokeness doesn't cause bad comedy, but I think anti-wokeness certainly does, because you're more focused on the politics of something rather than the humor of something. So this is my second comedy-themed episode in a bit. So I asked during the last one if you had any recommendations for comedians with unique voices. So please, also, same thing. If you have any comedians that have unique voices that are funny in your opinion, just drop it in the comments, and then people can discover more funny people. All right.